Hi everybody, it's Michelle, and what I'd like to do in this presentation is share some of the final projects of students in the previous class. And I think this will give you a much better idea of the kind of work that is expected in terms of deliverables for this project. So all the final projects of the previous students are in the website that I've developed in support of this class. And what I've decided to do is go ahead and put my website at the top of every instructor guidance so that you can easily get to it. So at the top of the week 2 guidance, or the week 1 at this point, we have the class support site, Michelle's EDU649 class support site. Let's go ahead and go there. Okay, and here we are at the EDU649 Technologies for Teaching and Learning site. And we're going to go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4 links over to the right to the EdTech resources. In the EdTech resources, there are several really great resources for you. And it would be really nice if you wanted to go out and experiment with some of those and get familiar with them. So I'm going to go ahead and go all the way down to the EdTech resources page. At the bottom of the page, we have the EDU 649 student assignments. And we have several assignments by each of the students. And for some reason, some of these links are color and some of these are not. But you can tell that it's a link because my mouse turns from an arrow to a pointer. Whoops, excuse me. From an arrow to a finger to click on the hot link. I am going to go ahead and click on Lisa Johnson's Alzheimer's disease link. This is her lesson, Effective Communication. And under the Welcome button, we see that this is a training to teach CNAs about communication strategies used for patients suffering from Alzheimer's disease. Now, if you take a look at this website, just very briefly, this is developed in a software called Zunal. It's a free tool for developing lessons. And so several of the students in the previous class decided to use Zunal. Zunal provides you with several buttons, and these names are changeable. And then it puts the lesson up on a site for other teachers to look at, and they can rate them, or they can share or reuse the lessons that are here, including the ones that you develop. So you should know that these lessons are meant to be used in the classroom and meant to be developed and used by others. And so I think that, it's a nice way to share the knowledge across the educators in the profession. We're going to go ahead and click on the introduction button. And she has a photo and very briefly a brief overview of what the students will be learning and who they are. So in this case, certified nursing assistants are going to learn about communication strategies for someone who's suffering from Alzheimer's disease. She did a nice job of her learning objectives, and I'd like you to take a real close look at those. She's addressed the ABCDs of the learning objectives. I'm going to go ahead to learning objective 2. So the A is the audience, adult CNA students. The B is the behavior. We're going to go ahead and read through here, and these students we're looking for the verb, which is the behavior. They're going to create a mind map. That's the behavior. It's as simple as that. They're going to create a mind map. Now, we've got 2 more left. We've got the condition and degree. So the condition is, what is the environment? What are the things provided to them that's going to help them with doing this behavior, which in this case is creating a mind map? Well, they're going to be given a computer with internet access. That's the condition. So again, the audience, the CNA students, will create a mind map. The condition is that they're going to be given a computer with internet access. Now the degree. what kind of mind map? What is the degree of this mind map that they're going to be developing? This mind map is there's several things that this mind map has to have. It's going to describe 3 types of challenging behavior presented by Alzheimer's patients, and the communication strategies, both verbal and nonverbal, that can be used to cope with those behaviors. So the degree is typically the most detailed part of the learning objectives. And you really want to break that out because guess what? Then you can turn around and test to this. So if I said to you, I want you to create a test that tells me whether or not these students did that, or not even a test, but an assessment. How do I know that these students achieved this learning objective? Well, it's so nicely laid out. I can say, well, did they create a mind map? Does it describe 3 types of challenging behavior? And does it include both verbal and nonverbal communication strategies? If it does, then they passed this learning objective. So the objectives and the assessments are mirror images of each other. Okay? All right, I don't need to go any further than that. Let's go on. All right, now comes the most robust part of these websites, which is the activities. So she has, again, the purpose, and she kind of gives us a little background. And then she goes into each of the 3 learning objectives. And she breaks it out into 3 Saturdays. So in the first Saturday, they're going to go ahead and they're going to look at an e-learning course. They have 60 minutes to complete the course. And they're going to be getting a handout on communication strategies. And then they're going to talk within the class about their own experiences in working with patients suffering from Alzheimer's disease. So then credit will be given for students who participate in this discussion. So basically an overview and experience with this online e-learning course, and then a discussion. In the second Saturday, allocated time is going to be 2 hours. They're going to go ahead and mind map. And the mind map is going to describe the 3 types of challenging behavior, and then the communication strategies, verbal and nonverbal, to cope with those behaviors. And she's provided some nice mind mapping tools. And she also created a great little example of a mind map that they can look at. And so then they go ahead and they do this in the next 2 hours on the second Saturday. And then they're going to, in the next class, they're going to spend the week researching the disease and the communication strategies for that disease. So then they're going to create a 2 to 3 page report describing the communication methods and the communication strategies related to that. And then here's the criteria for this report. And then in that third Saturday, they're going to submit their papers and be scored on those. And then she's got her great little mind map as her example. And if I click on that, here's an example of a mind map that she created that they can then see an example that then they can emulate in their own lessons. Okay, Lisa then created a great little research cheat sheet. Remember, in this final project, you have to create what the project calls a cheat sheet, basically a tutorial that teaches students how to use technology in a specific way. So here's her cheat sheet. Okay, and it's opening up. And so here we are with this internet research cheat sheet. And this is for how to use the electronic library. And so she's actually showing students how to use the library inside of the Ashford eCollege online electronic database. And they're going to do a search for health and medicine, and they're going to go on and look for specific peer-reviewed journals. So this is her cheat sheet, an example of her cheat sheet. and how to search for Alzheimer's disease and so forth. So you can take a look at that more in detail later. All right, I'm going to go back to the lesson, and here's her evaluation. She's got 2 rubrics for her evaluation. I'm going to click on the mind mapping rubric. We'll go ahead and take a look at that. And here she has a nice rubric describing the concepts, the links, the graphics, the content, the text, and design of her mind mapping activity. And you guys can check it out later. So this is a really great example of one lesson that I really liked a lot. And again, it gives you an idea of kind of the website that's going to house all or part of your lesson. The requirement is that it houses part of a lesson, and several of the students in the last class chose to put their entire lesson into this website. If we go back to my website, my my EDU649 website, again, I'm on the EdTech Resources page. And if I go back down again to the EDU649 student assignments, I'm going to go ahead and just show you one more site, and then you can look through these on your own. I'm going to show you Barbara's site because she didn't use the Zunal. She used a wiki to develop her lesson, and I thought she did a beautiful job with her wiki lesson. So she didn't use a wiki. She used a website tool now that I'm looking at it. So she's got the title now. She has an introduction. And the students in this class will create a family history totem pole, which I thought was so creative and sounds really engaging and fun. And then she wrote up her learning objectives, and she did a nice job with them. They are simple and concise. And she didn't really describe what kind of students, and she could have gotten a little bit more detailed in her criteria and degree, but they are nice learning objectives, and they are broken out in a clean, concise way so that each one of these is separate and achievable. For her activities, she has them talking with the parents and asking questions about the family history and using symbols. So one of the nice things that I really liked about her activities is that she has students learning about symbols. So this is a higher level of Bloom's taxonomy, is understanding what symbols mean, how to use them, how they represent other things. She's provided some nice links and resources. And then she has specific procedures for students that will get them through their project. And her assessments are written in kind of a narrative format. And again, with all of these, some areas of these lessons are stronger than others. But I just thought this was just really nice. I like the interface. I like that she used this little web tool. It's called Wix is the name of this web tool. And so here's another example of how another student did their final assignment, their final project. So back to this website that I have for you, this EDU649 website. In it, I have site generators on the same page, on the EdTech Resources page. I have site generators. So we've got this Zunal one, which is the first one I showed you, which has the buttons over to the left, and you can use this to build your lesson in. And then here's the Wix. This is the one that the second lesson that we saw. Google Sites is a really easy way to build your lesson and house it. And I have several tutorial here for Google Sites. Wikispaces is another one, and how to set up Wikispaces. There's a bunch more out there, but here I've given you 4, and if you like, you can just use one of these to develop your lesson, all or part of your lesson. So I hope that's helpful. And if you have any questions, I'm always available, as you well know. And I suggest that you go ahead and start playing with these website generators and seeing which one. Go ahead and get your account at least and kind of play around with it a little bit. Try to put some content into it. And then you can start to think about how you're going to put a lesson in there. All right. Thank you very much. And I'll be talking with you later.